exist, you're no longer in my
Welcome to AfterMat, your source for WWE pay-per-view recaps. I'm your host, the People's Champ Cal, and alongside me as always, I have my tag team partner, the Kalelmanofsteel Delisha. What's going on, Delisha?
Hello, hello. Another Monday, another recap.
I know, I feel like it's been forever since we last did this because I guess we skipped the last PLE. I'll call that a PLE. I won't call it a pay-per-view. But yeah. So it was the Night of Champions, which we thought was all right. I guess. I think that the Saudi pay per view is slowly getting better and better as they allow like more women to participate and pulling back things. It's not like that though. I think now it's not just like they're paying the money to see like Goldberg come back to fight the Undertaker and stuff like that, or like the rumored card where they had like Shawn Michaels versus HBK again. Shawn Michaels versus the Undertaker again, like stuff like that. Now they're actually letting like the real wrestler. I'm not saying that they're not real. I'm saying they're not letting the veterans come back or the Hall of Famers come back and just like get their moment again, just for the big bucks kind of thing, and having like a terrible match because they're past their prime. It's nice to see that like everyone who's on the roster now, on the match card, is on the active roster for the most part. So I like seeing that. That's pretty cool to see. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Money in the Bank, which occurred in the UK, in London, I believe, at maybe the O2 Arena, possibly. I guess or I could be making that up. Okay, yes, and it was the first pay per view in England in like they said, I think over 20 years. I don't know what the last one was. It might have been Rebellion, Insurrection, or maybe something else that I can't think of. I'm sure Joe or Will or somebody like that knows. But what'd you think of it, Delisha?
Yeah, going into it, I was actually pretty excited for because all the matches seem like they should be pretty good. And we'll go through it, but I have to rekindle my brain to see if it's still true. But I really enjoyed the pay-per-view. I really any I'm just gonna say now, probably anytime they go internationally, it's just the crowd is just gonna be great because they don't get many PLEs. Um, Especially like you said, they haven't been in the UK for a pay-per-view in over 20 years. So yeah, the crowd was great. Also, just the UK crowd in general, they're a great. Well, I can only speak for the wrestling crowd because that was the only time I really know them. But they're a great wrestling crowd. Much like when you go to the wrestling cities in the states, they just know it and they get it, and it was just a good time. And I know everyone felt that energy, and it just they fed off.
Yeah. So we're always saying how like the WrestleMania crowd and the night after WrestleMania crowd are usually the best because they're all the people from out of the country usually come in for the WrestleMania. So that that kind of affects the crowd and get more energized. And yeah, the foreign crowds are usually good. I guess the Saudi crowds are when we watch those pay-per-views, they're more respectful, they're quiet, they're not as energetic. But when we go to like England and stuff like that and other places, it's more rowdy. I think the one they did in India was unfortunately during COVID, I believe. So they didn't have a live crowd then, if I remember. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I don't remember them having a live crowd, but if it that could be the reason why they didn't have a live, as rowdy an audience. But I'm sure, if you watch any YouTube clips of Indian people in movie theaters, I mean, the movies showing in India, like Endgame or anything like that, the reactions they get out of their seats, they scream, they're whistling. I'm sure it's gonna be like that if they ever have a live one there with an audience there. But yeah, the foreign crowds are usually the best, and it definitely showed throughout this pay per view. And we'll talk about it a little bit later, maybe halfway through the pay per view, of a moment that might have happened that kind of maybe piqued their interest a little bit more throughout their future pay per views and such like that. But we'll start off the night with the first match of the evening, which is the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, um, which featured Damian Priest, Butch, as they call him, Santos Escobar, LA Knight, Shinsuke Nakamura, Ricochet, all who qualified by winning matches either Raw or SmackDown. And then they had a late entry that somehow didn't have to qualify in Logan Paul. and that may affect how people felt about it in the match, and we'll get to what Alicia's thinking about that. But before we say that, remember, a Money in the Bank, winning the Money in the Bank match when grabbing the briefcase off the ladder, it guarantees you a title shot of your choosing from now until, well, the next Money in the Bank, the day before the next Money in the Bank, I guess. And they constantly said this year you can do like the mid card level titles, such as the Intercontinental Championship or the U.S. Championship and such like that. Maybe even the NXT. Who knows? I don't know. But they've been constantly saying that over and over. So I don't know if that's going to skew how it's going to be cashed in. But Felicia, what happened in this match?
Yeah, I almost said they have until the next WrestleMania, but I forgot because Money in the Bank is its own event now. It's until the next Money in the Bank because Money in the Bank used to be on WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because no one in this match likes Logan Paul, they immediately all went after him. Much to the chagrin for the crowd, who was very happy to see that, myself included. Um, and then, of course, as is with any multi-person match, you're gonna get sections of people doing work in the ring. Immediately, Paul tried to team up with I guess will be considered the next big heel of the crew in Damian Priest, which worked for about 5 seconds while they set up a pair of tables, and then I believe Priest immediately, I think he like chokeslammed them or chopped them or something like that to let him know he is not on his side. I'm pretty sure it was Ricochet who had the first like big spot of the match where he dove between the ladder onto I think it was, I don't know if it was all of them. I think it was like Shinsuke, Butch, and probably Knight, I believe, on the outside ropes. Which and then another big spot we had was Butch or Pete Dunne hitting a moonsault from the top of the ladder onto everybody onto the floor on the outside of the spot. But the spot of the night that everyone's talking about, at least from this match in particular, was Ricochet and Logan and Paul were on the ladder, and I think it might have been LA Knight who pushed them off, and they were able to hang on onto the top rope, which is scary enough as it is, because it's not 30, and they got their footing, and then Ricochet turned it into a Spanish fly onto the previously set up two tables onto the ring, which was a very scary spot. Like literally, they could have concussed themselves if not do anything worse. But it sounds like they're okay. And while we rag because we don't like Logan Paul, so of course we don't want anyone to get like legit hurt. We just don't like the guy. Like even if we don't like him, the person, we don't want them like hurt. Uh, Especially Ricochet. Don't want him hurt either. And then that will lead into Priest and LA Knight battling for that briefcase. It looked like LA Knight was going to get it, with the crowd getting really happy and excited, but the Reaper or Priest made that not so, as he gave him I guess modified broken arrow while on the ladder onto the floor, and for Priest to climb up to grab the briefcase, and he is your 2023 Money in the Bank winner. Overall, I really enjoyed the match. It was a great opening um, segment for the namesake of the PLE, and I think everyone legit had something to do, and they legit had almost a spot where it was like, I guess they could get it. Even though everyone said it would either be Paul, Priest, or LA Knight. But honestly, any of the other four could have gotten it too, and you'd have been like, didn't see that coming, but okay. But I do, and while it made sense whether I want it to happen or not for Logan to get it, because he would be totally hated for it, and he would be a great Foley for whoever is champion when he wanted to cash in. Um, I could definitely see the appeal for LA Knight because he definitely is like one of the hottest. Whether they didn't want it to be or not, faces of the company. Everyone loves to chant along with him. But if you think about it, he would have had to, depending on the champion, he would have to cash in on either Roman. And did you really believe he would be winning if he did that? or he would cash in on Seth, let's just say within the next 3 months. But you also almost believe because they're trying to make Seth make that title mean something. So at the moment you're like, I can see if he does win it, cool. If he doesn't, I'm okay with it. Um, and then Priest also makes a great story because now there's already tension between him and Balor, and now there's even more tension with him holding the briefcase because Finn is in a match for the championship. So what happens if he wins? Like, and he even asks, like, "Would you catch it on me?" And I don't think that question. So it really makes it intriguing for me. It is a more intriguing story to tell with Priest holding the briefcase because you can also even it won't happen. You could also see him challenging Roman and giving him a a legit challenge for that belt. So I think it all makes sense as him being a credible um, briefcase holder for the next year. But what about you, Kyle? Did you like the match, and do you believe in Priest being a briefcase holder for possibly the next year or the night of Money in the Bank? You never know what happens in these things.
Yeah, so I gotta say, because I always say how when women have like a match with more than like three women, it gets a little very sloppy and stuff. I felt like this match was super sloppy. There was a lot of points where, I mean, it was dangerous and sloppy. I thought, in my opinion, I didn't really like seeing all that stuff. I mean, I love seeing that stuff. I still want to see anyone get hurt, like you mentioned before. And that Spanish fly move that came through, that was very dangerous, and it actually came up short. I think it was that spot was actually botched in my opinion because I think they were supposed to bounce off the rope right into a Spanish fly, but they didn't really land properly, so that caused the Spanish fly to look a little sloppier than it was. So, uh, this is pretty dangerous match, and it was fun. There were like those they had those good spots, like you said, like Ricochet going through the ladder, the Spanish fly. Ricochet really was spotlighted there, which you expected, as well as Logan Paul in the sense that he's very athletic. But after Damien Priest winning, I mean, I really didn't care who won this match. I thought it would have been cool if Ricochet won because I really like seeing Ricochet do stuff, but they don't really put him as a main Carter, in my opinion. They don't do that, so I didn't expect him to see that. I figured it would either be like Damian Priest or Logan Paul winning that because I didn't think LA Knight, like as much as everyone's behind LA Knight, just to spite them, I feel like they wouldn't let LA Knight win. So I thought it'd be like either like maybe Logan Paul or Damian Priest was the likely winner, and he did end up winning. Um, I think this is now going to cause some dissension amongst the Judgment Day, and I don't know if it's going to be a face turn for Damian Priest. Most likely, it will be a yeah. I could probably see a face turn for Priest, even though I don't really see him as a legitimate contender or anything. I don't know. Like I really didn't care who won this match. Honestly, I want to see Ricochet win. I didn't think he would win. Going in knowing I wouldn't, going in knowing he wouldn't win, it didn't really matter. I don't see any of these guys as legit contenders for the championship. So, um, this is just like probably one of the I don't say worst Money in the Bank things, but like it's like just like there's no like star power there in my opinion. There's no real legit star power that you want to see in the main event title picture. And welcome, Will. Thank you for joining us. Um, but yeah,
Yeah. Well, the thing is, well, I was gonna say they didn't have to cash in with it being a main event, but
yeah.
them being a champion would
But
put
why
them
would
in the
you?
main event.
Like why?
But I think that's the point. Like, I don't, I can't remember who I heard this from, so I can't credit them. But it used to be Money in the Bank briefcase was to elevate someone's
Right.
story to that title picture, and I think that's why I liked um going into it. I like this Money Bank because for the men and the women, because everyone had a stake in needing it, so to speak, to where it would catapult them into some sort of story, whether it had been quote unquote the unlikely guys of either Ricochet, Butch, Santos, or Shinsuke. Um, like they like I don't want to say it, but even with Logan, like it still would have created some sort of storyline that you could believably see them in. Whether we're only going to say Steph and Roman now because that's going to pay per view; those were the champions, so we have to go off of that part. Like even I think only Roman's the only unbelievable one, quote unquote, unless it's for shock value like because Seth will fight anybody, he is the more believable champion to cash in on. Um, but yeah, I do think that Priest was the right choice.
Uh, yeah, he was. It's just I'm just kind of like I don't know. I just like I said, I don't buy any of this any of these guys winning. So to me, it was it didn't this was like this was the first Money in the Bank I couldn't really get behind. I wanted to see cool spots which I saw, and I want to see people who are showcased that aren't usually showcased a lot. Ricochet, like I always want to see showcased, but he gets to do cool stuff at every pay per view he's at. So, but like someone like LA Knight, Santos Escobar, and Butch, like they're not really they don't get their chances very often. So I want to see them get their moment in the sun. So yeah, I don't know, but that's pretty much it for the first match. Like I said, for me, it wasn't really much of a. It was just like who cares because I don't think anyone's going to be a notable contender out of this group of people at the time right now. The next match was for your women's tag team championships, featuring the women's tag team champions Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez. Or is it Gonzalez or Rodriguez? I keep forgetting every time. Gonzalez, right?
So yeah, we have the returning Morgan coming off of an injury, which actually was shorter than I kind of thought it was going to be. But that was just on me. Um, but they kind of got the jump on them pretty early on, which does kind of make sense because they should be like upset that they didn't really get to like officially lose their championships. So like they should be coming in with a little bit more angst and anger. So them like really wanting to get the jump on these two, especially Raquel, who's been at the mercy of these two since they lost the championship titles, whether it being mocked or being um, beaten up in the ring. Uh, but yeah, but then the champions, of course, grab control of the situation. They kept focusing on Morgan's previously injured shoulder, to where I believe it was Shayna who did her like infamous stomp on your arm. I don't know what the actual move is called, if it even has a name. To uh to Ronda, giving her like arm drags and off the cuff. Excuse me. And then trying to use their MMA background, of course, to get um, Liv to tap, but she did eventually was able to get the tag to Raquel, but we never really got to see what she did because out of nowhere, Shayna decided to turn on Ronda and attack her from behind, and then I think she put in the what is it called, the
Kirifuda clutch.
clutch, and then just walked off. Much to the chagrin of everyone in the arena, is including our number one. Well, I guess technically they're not really number one contenders, but anyway, Liv and Raquel, who they I don't know what Liv's finishing move. I forgot what it's called, where she does the dive off the rope. Um, anyway, they wound up beating Ronda to regain their championship. Honestly, weirdly enough, I was kind of enjoying the match up until that point. I was thinking to myself, "Oh man, like Ronda legit, she cares again, kind of like she did in her like first initial run back in what was that 2018, 2017." And then we got the turn for from Cena, which I think we all knew like that was the plan, like that was going to happen. I just wasn't expecting it so soon, so suddenly, and out of nowhere. I mean, she's gonna have to make this make sense on Friday, but she's also not the greatest on the mic, so I don't know if it'll be believable. Rumor has it that this was supposed to happen. I mean, this was supposed to be a longer program for them, but then Ronda got hurt earlier in the year, and apparently Ronda legit has like a hard out at some point during this year, so which is why they kind of shortened what it is they wanted to do for because eventually to get to Ronda v Shayna, which is kind of a bummer. I kind of wish they would like let things play out as it could have, but um, it is what it is. So we have Liv and Raquel back again as champions, which honestly I wasn't that thrilled with their first title run. And then now we also have Shayna and Ronda going at it probably for SummerSlam. Which if they bring the Shayna Baszler of old back, it'll be worth it. If not, then I don't get the point. But Cal, did you enjoy the match, the part that we got, and do you think this turn makes sense?
Nothing about this match made sense to me. I didn't understand it. This match is so stupid. The only good part of this match was that Ronda Rousey came out dressed up as my favorite anime character, Vegeta. And not only was it Vegeta, she was a Majin version of Vegeta because she had the M painted on her forehead. I do have like an artwork on my wall for Majin Vegeta. So it's nice to see that she's a Majin Vegeta fan as well. That's all I got out of the match. Rhea Ripley's also a Majin Vegeta fan, or just a Vegeta fan. And New Day dressed up as the Saiyans back in WrestleMania, whatever it was, a few years ago. But yeah, this match was awful. The turn made no sense for me. I was like, what the hell? Like, I mean, that was like the one time I was like, just like, I legit went like, what the hell? But like only because like, why? Like why? Like why? Like made no sense. Maybe they'll explain it, but I guess it's for them to fight at SummerSlam. Like you said, shorten her. It's like you said, I guess you know that she's not staying around or whatever. So that's it. I guess. Well, like, it just really made no sense. I didn't care much for it. It was stupid. Uh, maybe we
Yeah, I
get.
agree. But like I said, I was. I mean, even though I wasn't excited for Liv and Raquel, I don't mainly because I don't really care for them as a team, like, or they haven't really made me care. To be honest. It was just like legit. I was actually starting to get into the match, and then they did that, and I was like,
Mm.
what the heck? But but yeah, but like I said, if this turns Shayna back into the Shayna of old, that's the only way it's worth it for me.
Yeah, so if yeah, like Will was saying, if they did it, it's because she's probably leaving, so it makes sense. But it was stupid anyway, regardless. All right, the next match was for the Intercontinental Championship, featuring the Intercontinental Champion Gunther versus Walter. Which is it now? I forgot. Whatever. I think it's Gunther now against nobody cares, nobody likes Matt Riddle.
Yeah, so Intercontinental Championship match, and if you see Matt Riddle versus Gunther before, or maybe you've seen them when it was Matt Riddle versus Walter, and some of the other like independent matches, it was kind of just like that, except with the caveat that the last couple of weeks, Gunther and the rest of Imperium have targeted Riddle's ankle, and so that was wrapped up. Not that greatly, honestly. Uh, it was just wrapped up with tape, which does not repel Gunther's strikes or any of his other moves. But they both started off with Gunther trying to get in his now signature trademark chops, um, to which Riddle were able to like duck and dive for a little bit because he saw it coming. And while Riddle to try to come back with his like knee strikes and trying to um, get a little over on Gunther, he would have came back and started focusing more on that ankle that he injured, like I mentioned before, including taking off the little bit of tape that they put on there, uh, and then putting him in an ankle lock. Riddle was able to get out of it to get do a ripcord knee and then to the was it floating bro for a near fall, and then Gunther just got control of the situation, putting him in a chokehold, and then tried to hit him with the top rope splash, but then excuse me, and then I think Riddle tried to it's not a Kimura. Try I think he did like a triangle chokehold, but got out, and then finally with another power bomb and then into another ankle lock, he was able to get Riddle to tap um to retain the IC title. I mean, overall the match was pretty straightforward. I'm not a big Matt Riddle fan. But I do like Gunther, and I don't think anyone really thought Riddle was going to win. So for the sake of the match and for what it was, I thought it was pretty good, and he sold the ankle injury pretty well. And Gunther was doing his usual pose, stare down of like no one can beat me, and out hits the returning Drew McIntyre, who we have not seen since I believe WrestleMania. Unless you ever seen him in the ring, I know he's been doing like charity work and stuff like that for WWE. and basically to have a stare down and uh gave him the Claymore. Right, that's what it's called.
Yep.
And so now we know his next contender probably for SummerSlam, which I don't know. They might give it to Drew just to placate him for a little bit. But I know you don't like Matt Riddle. But did you enjoy Gunther's presentation in this match? And do you think Drew is the man to end his championship reign once and for all?
Well, I'm glad you asked that in that way because I'll get to that in a second. But after the match, it wasn't that spectacular. I thought it would be with these two guys in the ring. You know, we've always been saying how Gunther's great. Riddle's great in the ring. I just hate his character. He's like his character is so stupid. I hate it. It's like a even worse version of RVD's character. RVD, I liked it when it was RVD, but now it's like a worse version of RVD, so I don't like it. But in the ring, potential wise, he's great. He's great in the ring. So I expected to see like a 5-star match out of these two, but I didn't really get it. Like you said, it's very straightforward and blasé, in my opinion. And like they sold things very well, but it just wasn't a match that like I would have expected to see from these two. So I was kind of disappointed with the match. But as for the outcome, it's good that Gunther won. Drew McIntyre coming back was really cool because I really enjoyed Drew McIntyre. Do I see him as the guy to dethrone him for the sake of maybe Drew's ego or something? Maybe yes, but if he really cares about the company, I think he'll let Gunther go over. I'd see Gunther as a type of guy like WrestleMania Undertaker. He's gonna have a streak because I don't think he lost. I think he made his debut this past year, right, in WrestleMania. I think we'll probably know better, and he hasn't lost yet, so he's 1-0, I guess. I don't see him losing in his first 10 matches at WrestleMania. I think he's gonna be like the next, not Undertaker as an icon for the WWE, but he'll be as in like a streak at WrestleMania. I think he'll be like that for Undertaker. And then someday someone's gonna beat him eventually, but he won't get near the Undertaker streak. Like he won't be like 25 or 21-0, and then become 21-1. I think he'll at least get 10. I think I'll get at least 10 straight wins at WrestleMania, I believe. So he's gonna be one of those big strong characters that doesn't lose. It might take like a Super Cena to come back and beat him, kind of thing.
Yeah. He could still lose throughout the year and not lose at Mania, like much like The Undertaker. But I know a lot of people are saying that they're trying to prime him to beat the honky tonk man's record.
Mm-hmm.
Which I just looked it up, which is that 454 days, and I think Gunther is like 360 something days. So he's probably gonna beat that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, like I think he should beat Drew if they do find sometime, which it looks like it's gonna happen. I don't think Drew should beat him. I don't see him
I
losing.
wanted to be Shayna, but we can't because right now the draft. But even though they don't
Yeah,
fully um listen to those rules either, but still.
yeah. No, I think Sheamus should be the one to beat either Drew. If Drew beats Gunther, which I don't see happening, I think Sheamus should be the one to beat Gunther's streak. Him finally winning his first ever Intercontinental. That'll be like the best moment since like Kofi won the championship and his son came in the ring and all that. I think that would be that kind of moment. Um, Sheamus deserves it. So, all right. The next match is Cody Rhodes and Dominic versus Dominic Mysterio. I have no idea why they had this match. In the promo package, I saw just like Dominic keep hitting Cody in the back, and I don't know why that's even started as a feud. But before I say this, I just want people to know I asked Alicia, and we usually do this after SmackDown ends. I go to Alicia. I'm like, "What matches do you want to cover? What matches should I cover?" Because I didn't care about any of these matches, honestly. And so we split up the matches, and we had no idea that the first four would be all Delicia's, and then last three would be mine. It always ends up somehow being like that, where like we never get to alternate. But yeah, like we split it like Friday night after SmackDown, before the event started. So it's just kind of stupid how it ends up like this. But go ahead, Alicia.
Yeah, it's so funny how that just always plays out. One day we're gonna get it right without waiting
No,
till
yeah,
after the interview.
we're not gonna talk. We're gonna do it before, and somehow it's gonna be back. Alternating. It's gonna happen eventually, one day.
But yeah, this is a little mini feud for Cody to get into until I guess he eventually goes back for Brock for their rubber match. But Mysterio, being the chicken shit heel that he is, his approach to this match was, "I'm going to hit you and run," and which, in his defense, is a pretty good strategy against someone of a more higher caliber wrestling skill for you. But he was trying to land punches and avoid any type of contact with Cody. And then of course Dominic thought he would get the upper hand, and then Cody, pretty much getting frustrated with Dominic's antics, ripped off the cast that he supposedly had a broken hand with, and chased Dominic out the ring, and then like bringing him back, and excuse me. So, after very, very narrowly escaping or kicking out after getting hit by crossroads, he goes out to the outside of the ring. Cody follows, and but of course, who's there to save Dominic? None other than Mom herself, Rhea Ripley, to provide enough distraction to let Dom get the upper hand once again, and then sending him into the steel steps, or I don't. Do we still call them steel steps, or they're just the
Yes.
ring steps now?
I think they're still called steel steps.
But Cody was able to counter a Three Amigos attack from Dom, to give him a Cody cutter and then the crossroads to end the match clean, which I didn't think would happen. I legit thought that Lesnar would come out and screw up enough so that Dominic could get the win, and then legit hold that over Cody of saying, "I got a pin over you," and then thus setting up Brock and Cody later on. But that, and he just beat Dominic clean, which I guess was fine as well. Rhea did get involved, as probably expected by everybody. And if there was no Brock to interfere, then obviously Cody should win. But I really thought it would have been funny if Dominic did beat him so he can hold it over him for the rest of his life. But then I also realized that would have meant Cody would have lost like 3 pay-per-views in a row, which doesn't really bode that well for if you're, because he is technically one of the top baby faces in the company. So yeah, probably not need to look to lose 3 pay-per-views in a match, especially to Dominic. But I still would have found that entertaining if he did lose to Dominic. Um, but do you think Cody should have won or lost this match? I mean, I know you didn't know why they're fighting.
Yeah.
There really wasn't any big reason for him to fight besides Dominic getting on his nerves. But did you find the match at least entertaining?
No,
At least
it was awful. Also, this match was awful as well. I don't know. I couldn't care for this match at all. And you're saying Rock coming out with, yeah, that would have been probably made more sense, and then like having Cody, get pinned by Dominic, but that would also mean that Brock would have to travel, right? And he doesn't want to do that unless he's getting a private jet and all that. They didn't want to give that to him, so I didn't see Brock coming out there either. So yeah, that's it. That was it. That was kind of stupid, and this match made no sense. Made no point. There's no point to it. There's no feud. It's just something to hold Cody over, something to do until he gets his rematch against Brock, like you said, and eventually gets another shot at the title and probably finishes the story as people want him to do. This is a stupid match. No need for it. Dominic, I don't know what's going on. If he's not fighting Ray, it's kind of like a pointless feud. He's like pretty stupid character in the WWE right now. Yeah, I hate that he's getting a spot whereas other people are not. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I'd rather have seen like Sheamus versus Cody. That would have been see, whatever. The next match, I don't think or not even match. I think the next thing that came out, I didn't have a thing for it, but we had I think I don't know if it was now or after that, but since it's a split between deletion matches and my matches, I might as well talk about it now. Since I can get a fourth match in for myself, if you consider it a match. We had a surprise return of John Cena come back and surprise the crowd. And he did mention that, like we've been saying all night, and that Will said when he came in as well, the foreign crowds are usually the best crowds. They're great crowds. They always give great, cheering, booing, the loudest responses. And, he was found, it's nice to see, he said, it's nice to see them not booing him for once and cheering him, and they're saying thank you Cena and all that. So that was cool for him to see and hear. But he did say, what if one day we get a WrestleMania that's not in the U.S. and I mean, well, not in North America, I should say, because we've had one or two in Canada. So having one that's outside of North America. I also told Raj, the road dog, that Mexico City would be a good one because they have a huge soccer stadium that would accommodate like a lot of people. I think it's one of the largest stadiums in the world. So one having one in Mexico City would be kind of crazy too. But yeah, give one to London first because they deserve it. So he got the crowd behind him. And then Grayson Waller, I don't know if he's on the main roster yet, but he's on NXT. He's kind of like this social media guy, and he has like a show called the Grayson Waller Effect. Um, and he came out and started talking crap about John Cena, how he lost to, Austin Theory, how he lost to The Fiend, how he lost to pretty much everyone lately. And he shouldn't, his time's over. So eventually I was like, I knew he's going to get aid. I'm like, someone's going to come out and get aid. I told Raj before even Rachel Waller came out, I'm like, someone's definitely going to come out to interrupt Cena and he's going to get attitude adjustment. And it happened. He got attitude adjustment, and that was about it. It was, a short little segment. Nice to see Cena back, and nice to tease that they can have a future WrestleMania outside of United States or outside North America. Anything to add about that segment, Alicia?
Yeah, I legit like was not expecting him to come out. I mean, no one was, obviously, but I would. I wasn't like looking at the screen when it happened. Cause so in my mind I'm thinking like a promo. I mean like an ad or something is like playing, and I'm like, oh shit, it's actually his John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
I am glad that he's getting his flowers now. That people like legit have respect, like a lot more respect for him now. I mean, because we do have that Super Cena going in with him, like just beating everybody, but the man really did catapult a generation of fans into the company. And you got to thank him for that. Obviously, no brainer. You need to do it in London or in the UK. Period. It's time. It's time to do more international WrestleManias. Do you like how many times can they go to Texas, Florida, Cali? I mean, I know they're coming here to Philly um next year, but that's also they haven't been Mania hasn't been Philly in like 15, 20 years or so. So, or go like give other cities a chance, other countries, and I mean, their market is expanded, but like legit, you're gonna sell out no matter what. I mean, I guess no matter what mania you do, you're gonna sell out, but legit, you go to the other countries like we were talking about earlier with just the crowd in general, plus your ticket sales. It's almost a no-brainer. But I was again also hearing that it's kind of on London to okay that because I didn't know they like these cities actually like pay for
Yeah.
it. So I didn't. I think also I think that's also why it hasn't been in Philly for a while either because they didn't want to pay. But yeah, if the crowd makes enough noise, literally and figuratively, um, I think they'll make it happen. Obviously, I don't think it's gonna happen in the next few years. So maybe 2026, because I think they're finalizing a deal for 2025. So unless London vetoes that and you're like, here's your money, but 2026 probably, and then or somewhere between 2020, 2025 and 2030, you'll probably get your Mania in the UK.
Yeah, Will's saying they should have one PLE every year in London, which I don't mind. I agree with that. But when they did first PLE since in 20 years, but didn't they have Clash of the Castle like 3 days ago? So like, I don't get it. But anyway,
But well, yeah, I guess that was kind of like a little a special, if you will, even though it is considered a
yeah,
premium event. But it was never. I mean, it wasn't like a namesake pay per view that we were familiar with. They just named it
right.
Clash of the Castle. Honestly, I think just even if they can't give Mania right now, doing one of the big four, doing one of the other big fours in the UK would be great. I legit they should go in every continent.
Will's saying because Clash was in Scotland, it's not considered. But when they say UK is like the United Kingdom. So
Oh, it's not part of the United Kingdom. It's just part of Europe.
like, who knows?
Oh,
It's all
I
the,
don't
it's
know.
all the same to me over there. Yeah, insurrection. So yeah, I wasn't sure if it's insurrection or rebellion, but I guess it's insurrection. All right. Our next match was the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, featuring Io Sky, um, Trish Stratus, Zoe Stark, Judgment Day member Bailey, Zelina Vega, and Becky Lynch. When I watched it for the first time, I'm like, did she just mess up Raj? And she's like, Raj didn't even know what Judgment Day is, so he didn't because he was watching with me at my house. He didn't know what Judgment Day is. I'm like, wait, did you hear that? I think she just messed up. So I rewinded it, and they're like, and representing the Judgment Day, Bailey. I'm like, wait, she's not the Judgment Day unless I've been watching wrestling since WrestleMania or whatever the last pay-per-view was that we did. Um, yeah, WrestleMania, I guess. I'm like, did she just go to Judgment Day? And I didn't know about that. And then like when her little thing came up on the bottom, says like damage control. I'm like, yeah, see, I knew she was in damage control. And then I guess she tweeted about that. I saw an article about that today. She tweeted that she messed up, but it was funny. But yeah, and so Bailey, Zelina Vega, and Becky Lynch all rounded out your roster. The match, like I said, like when they put a lot of people like in the more people, the more than 3 people in the match get sloppy, especially when it happens in the women's match. But I have to say, this year the women were a lot better than the men. The men's match was sloppy in my opinion. The women were the better Money in the Bank match. They let them go. Like Alicia and I've been saying this for years. Let them do what they can do. Let them show off their skills. And I think this year more than ever than in any other match they've done, they got to show off and do crazy stuff like the men do. And I thought it was even crazier what they did because they did a lot of great ladder spots and it looked like it hurt. It looked like, I mean, there's one spot where it was like very cringy, like it could have really like been very dangerous. Thank God no one got hurt. I'll get to that moment in a little while. But it was amazing. I enjoyed this match a lot better than the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Even though we had better athletes in the form of like Logan Paul, Ricochet, and stuff like that, who do crazy stuff. I think the women did a lot better stuff in their match than the men did in their match. And I think the Spanish Fly wasn't botched. I think that would have probably been the match moment of the night. But since it was a little bit botched and Logan Paul came down weird as well, thank God he didn't get hurt. That kind of took away from that moment. Whereas the women had like a pretty much flawless match and it was very well done. So it started out with Zoe Stark and Trish Stratus being like the new duo, teaming up and dominating pretty much everyone early. Zoe Stark's kind of like a mini powerhouse, I should say. They didn't really have a powerhouse in the match, in my opinion, but Zoe Stark was like your powerhouse for the match. And her and Trish Stratus pretty much dominated the group of people for the most part, mostly in the early of the match. Eventually, that kind of went to shit because Becky Lynch came and just started destroying like the team of Trish Stratus, and Zoe Stark getting the revenge on. I guess they've been feuding for last few weeks now. After Trish cost them the belts, and then I think Zoe Stark helped Trish win. I think at Night of Champions or something like that. So Becky Lynch is probably taking out all her past frustration on Trish and Zoe Stark. She hit a manhandle slam onto the ladder. God, is her name Io Sky now or is it Io Shirai now? Io Sky, I think. Why are they gonna change people's names, damn it? Io Sky. Io Sky hit a moonsault off almost the top of the ladder. But it was like the top rung, I believe it was. And onto like all the women, and that looked so clean and so pretty. I have to give to the production department as well and the camera people. They've been doing better. I'm pretty sure it was zoomed. The reason why it was a lot, and this is in both matches, they're zoomed up on the person on the top because the other wrestlers are holding the ladder for them. So when they do the moonsault, the ladder doesn't fall over. So the people who are there kind of had the moment ruined, but on camera it looks great because you don't see the other wrestlers holding the ladder for Io just so they can get jumped on. But yeah, that was a cool moment. And then probably the moment of the night, and this was a scary moment, was when Zelina Vega hit that sunset powerbomb. I think it's called Code Red or whatever, but it's the sunset flip powerbomb onto a ladder from the top of the ladder on Zoe Stark. And when Zoe Stark went down, her head got caught between the two rungs of the ladder as she popped out. So that moment was scary, but I guess she was able to bend her neck perfectly enough that she got her neck out fine. And that could have been worse than it was, but that looked devastating and it looked good, and thank God she's okay from that too. Eventually, Io had a chance of winning the championship. Winning the contract by going up, and she's all alone. No one's in the ring because Zelina and Zoe are out. Oh wait, there's one moment early in the match when Zoe was trying to handcuff Becky to get her pretty much out of the match. She got one handcuff on. She was trying to go to the second one on, but Becky was able to fight it out and only had one handcuff connected, and she fought off Trish and Becky. She actually, I had a cool moment where I think she put like the handcuff into like I think it was Bailey's mouth and pulled her off the ladder as well with that. So but that'll come into fruition a little bit later when we talk about what happens with the handcuffs. But Io's going up, climbing up the ladder all by herself, no one there. She's about to grab the briefcase, and the ladder gets pushed over, and who is it? It's her own damage control stable member, Bailey, that knocks it over and kind of screwing Io over from winning. But this is anything goes match, so it's free for all pretty much. But she did what she had to do. And then Bailey started to climb, but when Bailey climbed, that's when I think Becky got onto the other side of the ladder. They started fighting. That's when he got the little hook of the handcuff into Bailey's mouth. That's when Io got back up, and this time, seeing that she was screwed over by Bailey, she helped screw Bailey over by pulling them both off the ladder onto their respective sides, pulling Becky's arm through the ladder, handcuffing her arm to Bailey's arm that she pulled through the ladder. So now Bailey and Becky are both connected underneath through the rungs of the ladder, and Io climbs up Bailey's back, over Bailey, steps on Bailey, climbs to the top, and grabs the briefcase, and she is your Miss Money in the Bank for 2023, giving her a future title shot at any title of her choosing. I didn't really care for her to win. I really wanted Trish to win or Zelina to win. I'm not really sold on Io Sky. I'd rather see like Dakota Kai or win than Io Sky. Dakota Kai is my favorite member of Damage Control. So I know she's hurt and she's not in, but I'd rather have seen her win, or Trish Stratus because I love Trish Stratus, or Zelina Vega because I really need Zelina Vega to do something because I really like her as well. I really want to see Trish or Zelina win for the people who are in the match. Winning does nothing for me. Also, I couldn't care less that she won. Now, once again, this could be starting some dissension amongst the group because look, when Jamie Priest won, I'm like that'll probably start dissension amongst Judgment Day. Now with Io, winning, this was gonna start dissension amongst Damage Control. Eventually, she's probably gonna get screwed over by Bailey when she goes for a title shot, or a returning Dakota Kai might screw her over or save her. But maybe Bailey's coming in to screw her again, and then Dakota comes and saves her. So who knows? I think that's what we'll see in the future. But as for now, Io is your winner. I'm not really happy about that, but they're breaking up stables also, and you know how much I love stables. So that's all that this Money in the Bank pay per view did is break up stables, and people went through tables. Delisha, your thoughts? Oh, you're on mute, Delisha.
Sorry. No, I was saying stables and friendships are never safe in the WWE. And to go off Will, where he said he thinks Trish might have broken her nose.
She did
see the bruise on her nose, but I couldn't remember if that happened. No, when I saw it in the match, I didn't know if it happened in that match or if it happened like earlier in like the week or not. But apparently, yeah.
No, I saw it during the match. Her nose is like this. I saw it.
Yeah. No, I was saying because I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know that it happened in the match.
No, she came out beautiful as ever.
Yeah, but yeah, I was gonna say this hands down is the best women's Money in the Bank so far. They find like you said, all the members of this match, they had some sort of energy or just clicking going on, and I don't know if it was just more willingness from them or just the producers let them go, or a combination of both to really do some spots that, I mean, obviously we don't want them to do anything like super dangerous, but like just some like close up, or at least to like make it look as brutal as when the men go. That's all we ask for, But I really enjoyed all the spots. I think all the ladies did a really good job. This one with this Money in the Bank, while everyone was screaming for Io, legitimately every single woman had a like shot at getting this. I know Zelina was probably number 6 on everyone's list, but legit when she was going for the title, like a lot of people were cheering for her. So she's doing a really good job. All the ladies are really doing a really good job of playing their role. And honestly, just like in any other TV show, that's what I want. I just want characters either to root against or root for. And I think they gave this to us in this match. Unlike how I am happy to see Io win, because she has been muted in her ability since coming up to the main roster. So maybe slowly they've been letting her kind of get back to form. outside of just being the girl who can do the one of the best moonsaults in the business. Other than that, and yeah, much like LA Knight, she might not have been the chosen one, but the fans chose for them. That they're like, no, this is the one we're getting behind. And yeah, it'd be very interesting to see who she goes after. Because right now it's Asuka and Rhea. I mean, like you probably believe it's just gonna be Asuka, not just because of SmackDown, just because of the history with them two. And if they let them like legit go, it will be a legit banger match. But yeah, I'm also I'm also glad we have stopped the tradition of having the woman just cash in that same night. I mean, there was no other women's match for her to cash in on, but um, I so I guess what that does that technically make her the second longest person to hold their money
I
bank.
guess so.
Because wasn't it only Carmella who? I mean, Carmella's the one who's held the longest, but I feel like everyone else cashed in like that night or not that long after um
I'd have to
their
look.
win.
I'd have to look it up because I can't remember. But yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
No, they legit
Well, Asuka. Remember,
WWE.
Asuka was the next day because of Becky's situation, right?
Right.
So
I will make. I'm gonna make Oscar the outlier because that was legit something out of her
yeah.
control. Like the woman was pregnant, she couldn't like fight. Um. So like Oscar will be the outlier. But I remember WWE put in their social like all the women's cash in. Legit, it was or in like the time frame that they cashed in. I'm pretty sure a week was the second like um longest reign because Carmella held it for like 100 or so days before she cashed in. And and it was funny how many times it was Charlotte who got cashed in on. But but yeah,
Well,
all in all, this was a really great match and more of this please. More of this please. That's all I ask.
Will said Nikki Cross the next night, so we'll see. It can happen tonight. You never know. We'll see what happens.
That is true. That
Um,
is true.
but I just noted I was looking at the times of the matches. Most of the matches are under 10 minutes. So that's kind of crazy. Or at least 50% of the matches were, or 49%, whatever, were under 10 minutes. If you don't count the two Money in the Bank matches, which tend to be long, the majority of the matches were under 10 minutes. So that's kind of weird.
Maybe because I didn't watch live, maybe I didn't
Uh,
feel it.
yeah.
Because like watching it, it didn't feel like a short um um pay-per-view.
Well,
So
remember we had to watch the commercials and stuff like that. Well, not the product. You know what I mean? Like those promos like 1,000 times over, and then they had the John Cena segment in and all that stuff, and then the
yeah.
entrances take forever and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying even on the replay, it doesn't feel like a short, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because if you'd have told me outside of the bank matches, all of them were less than 10 minutes, I'm like, for real?
Well, no. Besides, and the main event. The main event was longer too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The next match was just penultimate match for the World Heavyweight Championship. I think that's what they're calling it now. I don't know. They keep changing names and adding belts and all that kind of stuff. So the World Heavyweight Championship match featuring the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins against the regular Finn Balor, not the Demon version, because you didn't want the extra overall rating for this time around. This match, well, they started by saying notice the injury on Seth Rollins' abdomen because I guess that's when Finn Balor's been working on it for the past weeks. I guess that's what's been happening. I don't know. But he had his whole side taped up, and Balor did use that to his advantage by working on that on his abdomen and stuff. So to break down Seth Rollins in a way, but Seth Rollins is I don't know what's his nickname now. What's his nickname now? It's not the Messiah, is it? Not the Architect, not the Kingslayer, whatever his nickname is now. I don't know what it is. He worked on that for the whole time, and Seth Rollins did kind of Seth Rollins did sell it well, but I did expect a lot better match for these two, just like I expected from Gunther and Matt Riddle. Like this wasn't as good as the match as I thought it was. It was basically them doing all their spots like sling blades and falcon arrows and all that. It was all the same stuff we always see, and I just thought it'd be. I guess maybe they're trying to sell Seth Rollins' injury, so they didn't want to push him too much or something. Maybe he is really somewhat injured slightly or something. But like as Alicia says, he's a fighting champion no matter what. He'll still fight and defend his championship. It was a good match for the most part, and then it wasn't as good as I expected it to be. But then, there was a moment in the match when Damian Priest comes out because he is Senor Money in the Bank. He comes out and kind of like now puts Seth Rollins and Finn Balor on edge. Like, oh wait, is he catching in during the match? Is he gonna wait till one of us wins and then catch in? So it kind of puts the thought in the back of both their heads. So it kind of throws them off their game during the match. So that kind of like a storyline thing. Maybe that's why the match wasn't as good as I expected. But basically, it was back and forth for the most part, where Finn Balor would get most of the advantage via going for working on Seth Rollins' injured parts. Seth Rollins is down at one point, and that's when Finn Balor went up for his finisher, the coup de grace. As he's going for it, you see Damian Priest kind of get up off his because Damian Priest sat ringside. That's what I mean. Like he sat down. Damian Priest kind of got up, and that kind of like made Finn Balor look over, like, wait, is he cashing in like now or waiting till I win? That gave him a hesitation, and then he went about his business and went for the coup de grace. Seth Rollins rolled out of the way and had left Finn Balor in a position where he's down on all fours. Seth Rollins hits the curb stomp, and then gets the pin 1, 2, 3, and kind of rolls out of the ring right away. And that makes Finn Balor get up and like look at Priest, and they start arguing inside, which might be causing, like I said, more dissension amongst the Judgment Day, and maybe causing the breakup of their stable because they're kind of all really taking her own thing pretty much. And Dominic's just like following along, and Priest and Balor don't need to be around each other anymore. So I don't know. What you think, Delisha?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. It was nice to see Finn Balor do something. He for people think of him as a leader, although we all know Mommy's the real leader of the Judgment Day. But he gets touted as a kind of like the leader of Judgment Day, but he's like usually relegated to like number 4 at the moment. Because like Dom is legit over as the biggest heel that people love to boo. Rhea is Rhea, and Priest has been really getting on the fan side with his work ethic in the ring. And so like Balor kind of just got relegated to the sideline, which I'm sure he doesn't like personally. I don't think he meant because he loves putting people over who he also thinks like legit like deserves it and stuff. But it was nice to see like that gritty heelish Balor come to play once again, especially last Monday when he literally just attacked Seth every chance he could get on Raw and on NXT. I was glad to see that. But yeah, I thought honestly, even though I in the back of my mind, I'm like, they're not gonna take the belt off of Seth because they want him to like put it establish it more. But I was like, you know what? For the sake of the story, I wouldn't have been surprised if Finn would have won to, I guess, quote unquote, finish that story of his legacy. But I do think this also just gives more intrigue for Judgment Day, what's going on there. I don't think this match really did. I mean, if it did anything for either of these guys, it was just a more reestablishment of Finn Balor than it did anything for Seth. Because I just Seth don't really need anything, honestly, right now. But I did enjoy the match, and I am coming out of it. I am more intrigued to what's going on with Judgment Day. That's really what I'm personally looking forward to after this match.
Yeah, I think a lot of this pay per view was to set up storylines and feuds going into SummerSlam, and that's what it feels like, and that's what it seems like it's been. It's kind of like a prep pay per view. Whereas I'd rather have seen like more come out of the matches. Well, we'll talk about it later when we our final things. All right, the final match of evening, the main event, was a Bloodline Civil War featuring the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa against the Usos, who have defected out of the Bloodline. So basically, it was a regular tag match. The fans are huge, got a huge pop, gave a huge pop to the Usos and all that. So that was nice to see. But Roman is kind of upset that he's not getting the same love that he's always been getting from the crowd. And Solo Sikoa is just so as great as ever, expressionless, all that kind of stuff. It's fun to see him like that. But the match started out with pretty much Solo and Roman dominating mostly Solo because Roman didn't really get into the ring that much. Unless I'm mistaken, I don't really see him in the ring a lot. He came in, then tagged out, came in, tagged out, kind of thing like that. But Solo does a great job of like carrying the tag team well. And it was really I don't know. I felt like All right. Well, I don't want to give how I felt about the match yet, but yeah. So, it was cool to see that Solo is getting a lot of time. You know, a lot of showcasing because of he's kind of like under Roman's wing, and I like seeing that and him going through all the motions in the ring and stuff like that. And they feed off of each other very well. It shows them real like brothers. But yeah, a lot of it was a lot of stare downs and getting the crowd behind them and slow moving and methodical, just to get the storyline. Like Alicia loves the storyline. She always says, and this match did tell a good storyline once again. And that's what the whole match was basically. A lot of stare downs, a lot of big moves that kind of like then like they stare at each other again, and like you know kind of like Solo knocking his brothers down, and then like looking at him and like the Usos being like, you know, we're brothers. How are you doing this to me? Kind of thing, and all that. Roman would get in once in a while, hit a move or two, then tag back out. One of the better moments in the match was when we saw a spear. Oh wait, did this happen after or before? The referee gets knocked out at one point. I can't remember if this move happened before or after the referee got knocked out. But no, yeah, the referee got knocked out. Another referee came. So, and then I think I hate when referees get knocked out. First of all, like when you put on the referee's shirt, your HP goes down to 1 HP. You have 1 HP because when anyone touches you, you're out for like 30 minutes. So the referee gets knocked down. Obviously, Roman's on the ground. I forgot which Uso brother pinned him or got on top of him to pin him. And I don't know why crowds don't know how to count. Do they have no education? They're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, that's not how you count. It's 1, 2, 3. But they're at like 47 on their count before a referee would even count 2. I hate when like even on Cesaro swings too, they'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like, and he's only on his third spin, and I hated that. So like people learn to count if you're a wrestling fan. Like learn the cadence of the count. You've been watching wrestling this long. Okay, little kids can understand. You don't know how to count yet. You don't know cadence. But adult fans should know by now what the cadence of a wrestling 1, 2, 3 pin is and know how to count that. All right. So anyway, he was on for like literally 1 second, got off, and the fans still counted to him 11. So stupid. Anyway, another referee comes to the ring. Then there was a really cool move where Solo is holding one of the Usos. Like I never know which one's which. Was holding like let's just say one of the Usos. And he goes for the Samoan spike. As he's hitting Samoan spike, Roman Reigns comes off the ropes and hit a spear. So it's a double move, double finisher move. That's gonna put him away. It was a 1-2, and then that Uso kicked out, which was so stupid because that should have put anybody away. It makes Roman look weak. It makes Solo look weak. But whoever Uso that was, it made him look like Super Cena. So I guess he got his Usi back or whatever. So he got like super oosed up. He was on the oos, if you want to say. But yeah, he kicked out, which is stupid because he should have kicked out because that was one of the best tag team finishers I've seen in a while from that, not even a real tag team. So that was really cool. Oh, you know why they got out? Because that's what it was. That's why I didn't know which Uso it was. It was because Solo dragged the other Uso onto the other Uso, so it's a double pin that Roman wanted, and that's why they kicked out. I think then they went for another move. The Uso, I think Solo got kicked out of the ring and went through a table by the two brothers. That left the two Usos in the ring alone with Roman Reigns. One, I can never remember which one it is. One hit a super kick, but Roman bounced off and hit a Superman punch. But the other one hit him with a super kick. And the other one hit him with a super kick. And then Jay got to the top rope, jumped off the top, hit a splash, and pinned him. And that was the first time Roman Reigns was pinned in over 3.5 years cleanly. And that's what the match was. And I thought that was very stupid. I don't think they should have won. I mean, I thought they should have won, but maybe Solo been pinned. But I think this is now leading up to another story where like, hey, I beat you, man. I'm the one who pinned you. I'm the only one to pin you in 3.5 years. Now that's gonna be starting another match between kind of what started this whole tribal chief bloodline storyline all those years ago, where Jay was being, put through the ringer by Roman, and I think this is gonna start the same kind of thing again, but this time Jay might come out on top, being the first person to beat Roman Reigns for the belt. But we'll see. What you think, Delisha?
Yeah, again, really enjoyed this match. This is the ultimate story that they're telling in WWE at the time. And while this is not the culmination, it is another closing chapter of Basically, this is a story about Jay's trauma, not about Roman at all. No, but I really did enjoy the back and forth between these two. I mean, obviously they have chemistry because one, they're family, and two, they've been doing this for about 3 years now. Um, I I love the crowd just singing the Uso songs. One, as they came out to, and they you could tell that they were like shocked that the audience was like legit like singing along to their entrance music. And then at the end, like when they were like really into it, I just really thought that was pretty cool. Once again, like a really good feeling for the wrestlers on that night. And legit the story of, I mean, it 100% makes sense of Jay being the one to pin Roman. The first one to do it since Baron Corbin 3 years ago. That's not the line they'll probably tell you, but that's what it is. I really like it. I am still intrigued. Like, where do we go from here? Like, we really are seeing like one point we're getting Jay's redemption arc from being forced into this basically cult of his family of Romans, basically, of being like his lackey, basically doing what you do what I say, and how I tell you to do it. And then we also at the same time is getting Roman's like descent into madness as he is losing control of his perceived mind of being the head of the family. Um, and it's just really interesting how it's really been played out. We had a little bit of lull after being out for a couple of weeks and stuff, but they really ramped it back up in these last couple of weeks, and it's still not over. There's still much story to tell, probably until Roman loses the belt. I mean, I know he's still carrying all three of those belts when it's technically just the one, as like the ultimate like troll. But it really is interesting, and even if let's say like this doesn't go how you expect it to end, or if it's still, even if it's not a satisfying ending for like a lot of people, this is still one of the greatest storylines in wrestling history, not in WWE, in wrestling history as an entertainment purpose, not actual wrestling, uh, ever. Um, it's well, I mean, right? I probably have recency bias, but it's definitely like number one of long-term storytelling to me, and it's definitely going to be talked about for years and years to come.
Yeah, the storyline is great. I just hate seeing Roman Reigns get pinned, but I understand why they did it. Eventually, it's got to happen, and eventually, he's got to lose the championships. But I love that it does carry all three as well. It was very well story told. It was very well done. The crowd is behind it. Everything about the match was great. I thought it was one of the best moments of the night. But like I said, I hate to see um, Roman get pinned, but I did like seeing that finisher that him and Solo did together, which I thought should have been the way to win the match. But I get it. And learn to count. That's what you should learn from this. All right. Let's finish up the night with our finishers. Alicia, what is your low point, your high point, and your overall grade?
Yeah, low point is just the out of nowhere, unexplained turn of Shayna. Um, and high point is just it's gonna be the women's Money in the Bank as a whole because I just enjoyed it a lot. And overall, I'm actually gonna give this pay per view an A minus. I really enjoyed all the matches. Again, like I said, even shockingly, even the women's tag match up until that point, I was like enjoying what they were doing. And like I said, for the as I also give credence to the namesake of the pay per view when it's like a gimmick spot like this. The two Money in the Bank matches really did it for me. I thought they both did a really good job, and I enjoyed myself immensely. And then like I said, overall, all the matches were good to great to me. Like there was none of them I was like, oh my gosh, like turn this off.
So for me, I was like complete opposite. I really like any of the matches, except for I did like the both. I did like the both Money in the Bank matches, but I think the women's one is far like better than that. But for the low point, I'm gonna have to go to Cody and um, Dominic. I just didn't know why they had that match. Didn't care about the match as it went through. It was pretty stupid. My high point was definitely the women's Money in the Bank. That was a great match. Wasn't happy about the winner, but it was a great match, probably the best match of the night. Or um, yeah. I mean, a lot of the endings are what upset me. the one person who won the Money in the Bank for men, person who won Money in the Bank for women, and then seeing Roman get pinned. So it's mostly the endings of every match that kind of pissed me off. But I was actually gonna give this pay per view a D, but I'm gonna give it a C minus because of the Money in the Bank matches and the Roman Reigns match. Those are all good. So that bumped up the grade from like a D to a C minus. So I'll give it a C minus because that's how I felt about it. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad pay per view. It just didn't make sense. I felt like it was a filler pay per view in my opinion. Whereas Night of Champions could have been a filler pay per view, but this felt more like a filler pay per view. And I really have a high expectation for Money in the Bank. It's one of my favorite gimmick pay per views, and it kind of let me down. Nothing on the crowd. The crowd really loved it, and they did a great job of selling the night, but it didn't translate to me as I watched it. All right. With that said, Alicia, we're going to ask you, where can we find you and what have you been up to?
Yeah, you can find me at KingslayerNet TV on YouTube and on Instagram. Lately, I've been getting back into the swing of things of producing more content on YouTube. There is no brand new video this week, as my phone, which is also my camera, is out of commission until probably later this week or into next week. But there will be a video up tomorrow for you to watch.
Yeah, and make sure to check out the description below because now her links have changed. So make sure you check it out because there is like a new site for that. So make sure check out the new link and put that in your favorites and subscribe to her channel so you have all the newest information and videos for her. As for me, I don't think I'm streaming anything from now until I don't know when, but we will be back for AfterMat to cover SummerSlam. SummerSlam is happening on the Saturday the 5th, I believe. So you'll see us on Monday the 7th, which will probably be an earlier pay-per-view as well. We might have a guest or two, depending on it being, because it's a big pay-per-view, so one of the big four, so we might have a guest or two. But we'll probably be a little bit earlier again. Today I was earlier because I'm going to school tomorrow, so I wanted to ask Alicia if it would be okay if we ran a little earlier today, and it being a holiday weekend and all. So, but next time we'll probably be a little early again because it's a big four, and they usually have more matches and stuff like that. It's usually an extended pay-per-view, and we'll have a lot to cover. But until then, guys, keep slamming the hater and be the champion of your dreams. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Stay safe tomorrow, y'all.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on